microphones. There we go. Right, I must apologise that it's a bit dark, but that's London for you now when it gets near to Christmas and there's two dogs sitting in the window. That is funny. But hello everyone, I hope you're well. I can see people are slowly joining the stream, so don't worry, I'm not going to talk about anything too crazy at the start. But it has been, I think, about a week since I put out any content, and yeah, I gotta admit, it's been really busy. Since I did my live stream in memory of Johnny about a week or so ago, which is crazy already how quickly time goes by. I've been very fortunate that I've had clients book in all the way up until Christmas. Now, this wasn't because of the live stream that I did. I actually had people book in before then, but I'm certainly very humbled that people have wanted to squeeze in working with me. I did have a couple of people since Johnny's live stream that were like, yeah, I really want to work with you before Christmas if it's possible, and I just about managed to squeeze them in. But these last couple of days have been quite manic. So over the weekend I had two clients who I was working with, just doing 2 single days with, and then today I started working with someone on a 7-day coaching program. But I thought I would share with you how they're going and what they've been like, because what I've loved is so far everyone, or for each of these guys, they've been just so different, which has been cool. So on Saturday I had a guy who did the taster session, which, just for the plug of the coaching, it's where I take a guy out for 4 hours and I try my very best to do as much as possible with him. It's more about the experience, it's more about him getting to see what my coaching is like, for me to give as much feedback as possible, and for him to then be able to go away and implement the suggestions, and the suggestion, I'm so exhausted, the suggestions and the feedback that I've advised him. So my first client, he came from I don't know whether to say or not. No, it should be okay, because it's not. I'm not being specific or too specific at all. But my first client came from Kent, which is quite a bit of a journey away from London. So bless him, like, he made the journey to come and see me, and he was quite a unique pace. So he at the start. Now, although I have a consultation with people, I wasn't aware of this particular fact, that he was actually neurodivergent. He had some learning difficulties, and he also found it kind of difficult to read social cues with people. And I said to him, like, I admired that he came forward for coaching to get help with this particular thing and to get help with approaching. And I catered to that, which was fine. But there was something terrible that happened, which those in London will know, which was that it absolutely bucketed with rain. And my God, was it so difficult to do approaching when it started raining like crazy. The first half of the session, it was like lightly spitting, and then the second half, it just came down so much, and it got really cold. It was freezing. That as we're standing there looking for people for him to approach and give compliments to, he was just shaking so much. It was like watching someone having I dare say like a seizure. He was just so cold, and he just couldn't focus. And because of the rain, we were very limited of where we could go with practicing. And a lot of people were also standing under the shelters as well. So we kind of did the best that we could. But I really felt sorry for him that, you know, he'd kind of made the journey to come to London for coaching, and then the weather just completely turned around. And unfortunately, because of just the timing of when the weather went horrifically bad, there was no time to then go to like a shopping centre and try and go somewhere else and practice social skills indoors. So yeah, it was what it was. Hey man, welcome. Thank you for joining the live stream. I hope you're well. I'm just sharing what the last couple of days have been, because they've been busy. I don't know what this car is doing. We'll go around. It's also very slippy on the on the leaves. So yeah, so I'm just updating everyone on what's been going on, because I must admit I like putting content out on a regular basis, and I really don't like when my channel stagnates, when I'm not putting any videos out that's helping people, or doing live streams and stuff. And because of just how busy I got, well, good luck with your exam tomorrow. Fingers crossed it all goes well, whatever the exam is. Good luck, my friend. And yeah, so I'm someone who I like to put content out. I don't like things going quiet, and I don't like the idea that even with me being busy, that becomes an excuse to not make sure that content is going to help you, or that there are new videos on a regular basis. So the likelihood is I'm going to resort back to doing live streams somewhat every day. I usually do them in the morning. It just makes it easier when I'm like traveling to the train station, but that's also just dependent if I've got my my car or not. Because if I've got my car, then I tend to just get to the train station way too quickly, and then I'm not able to do any live stream whatsoever. So I'll either be doing them in the morning, or I'll be doing live streams around this time, and I'll have more of a theme with stuff. But this week I am actually working with a guy I'm doing a 7-day coaching with, and the likelihood is I'll be updating you guys every day on how his coaching is doing and what kind of progress he's making. And today for his first day was absolutely great. It was really good. But I'm sort of jumping the gun here. Let me go back to Saturday's coaching. So we had a great day. The guy was really good at being able to go in and just going straight up to women and giving them compliments. We worked on a few things with the actual approach itself. So trying to just uncomplicate the approach. I don't know what that car is doing. Just to uncomplicate the approach, because I think many guys, you've watched videos of dating coaches over the years, filmed by me, of course, and there've been videos that have said, oh, like, look where you're walking, make sure you walk around this massive circle, make sure you've got eye contact, what kind of proximity and distance you should have. And I do think that it overcomplicates the whole process of something that should be just really simple to acknowledge and actually implicate. So with him, I simplified it. And with his neurodivergency, I wanted to make sure like things were as less complicated as possible. And one of the things as well that he struggled with was being able to look at someone and also be aware of what their age might be. Because some guys have that, you know, although they might go for people who are around their age, and I won't say it's a good age, but sometimes it can be very difficult. So helping with his neurodivergency, we kind of created a little bit of a plan of like a checklist of things like when you're looking at someone to work out their age, like ruling out certain things just to try and narrow it down. because he was very subconscious that he was, or certainly very scared that he was going to approach people that he shouldn't have approached. And then he got really paranoid about what happens if I approach someone who's accidentally too young. It happened to me once in the past. She was taller than me, and he's 5'11" as well, and he was like, she was taller than me, and I just like totally freaked. Okay, it's absolutely okay. So it was a really cool session. It was just so unfortunate with the weather, but one of the things for me is I'm actually very sympathetic to situations like this. I've done it with dating coaches as well, where, you know, if the weather really is quite shit, then, you know, we'll just move the time to like another day. It's the easiest thing. So I said to him that the next time that you come and visit London, definitely in the new year, we'll go out and we'll do some approaching together, or we'll do more coaching, and don't worry, that's on me, so that you can have that extra time. Because you know, when guys I always feel that if a guy is spending money, and you know, and he's wanting to have an experience, I want to give him the best experience. I don't want him to walk away and go like, oh well, I didn't get what I wanted because the weather was really bad. So hopefully he'll come back in the new year, once I got a bit more free time, and we'll be able to continue our coaching for a little bit more, and I can give him more feedback. But he said to me that he got a lot out of it. It was great. It was just very unfortunate that it bucketed with rain and we couldn't do much about it. So that was that. And then yesterday I had a different client who had a very, very different situation going on. He was someone who felt he had a lot of limiting beliefs, and that he wasn't good enough to speak to attractive women. And he also found that he was someone who got very caught in his head when it came to approaching, that he just couldn't do it. And he was saying how he would go out for like 2-3 hours on his own, which I commend, to have that kind of dedication to wanting to do it. But he's found like he'd only do like one approach during that time, which is wild, you know, to walk around for like 2-3 hours and then only speak to one person. So we spent the 4 hours working on this issue, because as much as, you know, guys, when you're going to coaches and, you know, you might want to be able to get phone numbers, have conversations, sometimes you have to work on the foundational issues that might literally be preventing you from having those conversations in the first place. And for this guy, it was the fact that he, first of all, wasn't putting himself into enough situations or approaches to speak to people, to have conversations. And also we had to shift this belief of how he felt about himself with them. So one of the issues that he had was that he was just really, really, there's no way around it, shitting himself with the approaching. So he would end up seeing someone, they'd be like, oh shit, I can't do this. Oh no, I can't do this. So everyone falls into that trap. Everyone says that, you know, it's normal. It is normal. So 2 exercises that I got him to do, which absolutely, guys, if you relate to that situation where maybe you see someone, you just like frozen to the spot, you don't do anything about it, you let her go, and then you feel bad or you feel guilty that you've not done any approaching because you've just been standing there, or maybe you're just walking around for hours and you're not speaking to anyone either, then this is definitely going to be advice for you. One of the first things that we covered was that whenever you see a girl, straight away just walk 90% of the way towards her, and during that time that you're walking towards her, then you can think about, do you like her? Would you like to speak to her? What do you want to speak to her about? What compliment do you want to give her? And it's during that 90% of the way, you have plenty of time as well to decide if you want to go that full 100% of the way and actually stop her. Because you're better to be at least making that journey than to not make that journey and stand there, she disappears into the crowd, and you go, oh damn, I should have done it. I shouldn't have let her go. I should have instead stopped her, had a conversation with her. You don't want to be living in that regret. And I might try and cross the road here. Go in the car. So you don't want to really be living in that regret. You want to be taking action. You want to be doing something. So that was one of the first things that he was working on. And the other thing was to try and shift this mentality that he had, where he believed like it was a chore to go and compliment people, to go and speak to people. So rather than getting caught in his head and going like, oh shit, I can't do this, oh, I really don't want to speak to this person, and basically he'd be talking himself out of doing the approaches, instead, or as an exercise, I got him to be saying out loud, him psyching himself up to speak to her. And I said, I want to be able to hear you on the microphone, because I mic everyone up. So I said, I want to be able to hear you on the microphone saying like you can't wait to speak to her, like you're really excited about it, you can't wait, and even saying like what you find attractive, but like, oh, I find it really beautiful, she had a great energy about her and stuff, and I want you to do it. And the point of that was that then it would change your enthusiasm for doing the approach. There is an experiment or a scientist, I'll have to find out who it is, because I said to him as well, I've got to find out, but there was a test or an experiment done that showed that there is an incredibly fine line between fear and excitement, or anxiety and excitement. And if you can just shift your mindset more to one that is more positive than negative, so more about like the excitement, I'm looking forward to this, I'm nervous but I can't wait to do it, you would be amazed at what difference that made for him, and what it would for yourself as well. And what happened? Suddenly he went from the I'm not sure what to say in a conversation to having a very fluent conversation. And that brought his mood up, that brought his vibe up, especially through social momentum. So constantly speaking to people, he got himself into flow state, and he got himself in the mood to be sociable. And a byproduct of that was that then as we were walking, or after he did an approach and he came out, a girl walked past us, and he didn't see it, but I saw her sort of check him out. So I said to him, I said, oh, you've got to go and speak to her. And he was like, oh, but that's just by where I was just chatting to another girl. And he was like, that's absolutely fine, she's gone. And she also had a boyfriend as well, who, funny enough, actually collected her, and he had a nice chat with them both, and then they went. But, it's a lot of diesel. So he did it. He went over 7 dials, caught up with her, and just said, excuse me, I just thought you looked beautiful. It turned out she was Brazilian, and hilariously she's already straight away asking him like, where does he live? and it was great, and they got the number very quickly. It was a very, very sexually charged, a very sexually energized brief interaction, and she was like touching his arm, she was leaning on him, and then at the end she gave him like 3 kisses, which, my God, I even said to him, I thought they were going to end up making out. It was absolutely hilarious. And then afterwards, when we went to a coffee shop and we were talking about like, well, look, do you want to date tonight with her potentially, or do you want to do it next week? Then, you know, we had a discussion about like, what plan do you need to do if you do end up meeting her, because the likelihood is you're not going to need to have like a long date with her. You're going to just probably have one drink, get a bit touchy-feely, and then you'll probably have a nice romantic evening together. So we were having a chat about that. And he also did plenty of approaches. It was anywhere between about 15 and 20 in the end, which was really good. And he got another number off of like an American teacher as well, which was great. And he nearly shot himself in the foot with that. I thought, I've got to check in with him to see what happened if he any of the girls reached back, because at the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their prerogative. Everyone can change their mind. You know, you could have a great conversation with a woman, but if 5 minutes later she's like, oh, that was nice, but actually no, I don't want to go on a date with that person, then it is what it is. There's not really much you can do. You have to just sort of accept it and let it go. You bringing in some stoicism. You have to just let it go, not worry about the things that you just don't have control over, and then you just sort of let it be. So yeah, that was my client yesterday, and it was really good. But yeah, I do, now that I think about it, I need to check in with him and see if anything happened. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. Maybe he forgot to message me, or maybe he felt a bit shy about it. I don't know. But yeah, I need to find out what happened with that. Which now leads on to today. So I had a guy who's come down from up north, who's my 7-day coaching. To plug that service. So my 7-day coaching, days 1 and 2 is my filming and feedback, where I go out on day 1 for about 4 hours and I film the client, or I film my client approaching, so I can capture on camera 3 particular things whilst he's in his conversations with people, which is his body language, his linguistics, and his structure of content, or his conversation skills. So the idea, what I really love, and this is like my USP really, this is something that definitely, if you're working with any other dating coach, they usually hire me to do this anyway. But what I really like about it is that although you're going to a coach to get feedback, there is something that is, that was giving up a lot of diesel. Bloody hell. There's something that is way more impactful when you watch your own videos. You watch you doing approaching, and you look at yourself and you see those bad habits or those mannerisms that you've got, and you're like, oh, right, that was really bad. I've got to change that. So, hello Stargaze. I did see your message before. I do apologise. I didn't actually respond to it. It wasn't until I think like about a minute before I was doing the live stream that I saw your message. So I'm glad that you managed to jump on. I was just sort of sharing my busy week. I've had clients yesterday. Well, I was working with a guy yesterday, working with a guy before that, and today I've had a guy start my 7-day coaching as well. So as you can imagine, it has been really busy, but like with what I put in the post, I don't want my busyness up until Christmas to be an excuse for not putting out content. I really think it's important to keep putting out stuff that's going to help people, and so I decided, right, I'm going to make sure I just do something, whatever that looks like, which has essentially been me just talking about my busy few days. So yeah, going back on to today. So today, started with a guy. He's doing the 7-day coaching. The filming and feedback bit is today and tomorrow. So we filmed doing a load of approaches today. Tomorrow we're going to sit in a coffee shop. I'm going to bring my laptop. Tonight my homework is to watch the infields, write down notes, and then tomorrow we're going to sit and go through them together. So he's then very much aware of what his bad habits and mannerisms are, so he can actively fix them, and we have stuff to work on as the rest of the week goes. Now, what do I mean by the rest of the week? Well, Wednesday all through to I have my headphones on, I listen into every conversation that he has, and I will give him feedback after every single approach, which will be really, really great. And today he was very, very nervous, bless him, older gentleman as well, but he did such a good job. He was very anxious, and all we worked on, and being realistic about it, because there's no point trying to do everything from start to end in a single day. Today was just about going over to someone and asking for directions, which might sound very minimal to a lot of people, but you've got to understand that everyone is in a very different headspace when it comes to cold approaching. And for him, he'd never done cold approaching before. He was very honest about it. He'd never done cold approaching before, and this was a whole new experience for him. And he'd never really sort of approached strangers, and so we essentially kind of practiced, and I taught him how to do an appropriate stop, and Also, what it's like to go over to speak to people from a place of curiosity and asking questions. So it started off the session where we're walking through some of the Christmas markets, and he was asking questions at some of the stalls, and I said to him, right, I want you to ask them about their products, and then I want you to try and bring in a bit of humour into it, and I want you to try and bring in some like deeper questions if you can, like maybe what inspired them for this shop, or is this a family, I've got the hiccups now, is this like a family run shop or something? And he did that, and it was really, really great. And I also got him to do an exercise which I usually get everyone to do, which is my free flow exercise, which is quite simply, you end up talking to my camera for 5 minutes straight about anything, and the idea is that it gets you into flow state. It just warms you up, it socially lubricates you, just gets those cylinders firing in your brain. Oh, sorry, it's got a little bit dark now, so hopefully you've got my voice. There's quite limited lighting around here, really. Oh, it looked like out of something from oh my god, I brought like a Queen's music video. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? That's terrible singing. Yeah, I will probably lose like 1,000 subscribers from how awful that singing was. But no, so he did the free flow exercise. He spoke to my camera. I sort of spoke to him about how his body language was, and then got him to do a second round. And it was amazing for him to see what he's like when he's got his hands in his pockets and he's talking, to when his hands are out and he's gesturing. Huge difference in his confidence. So it'll be good for him to see that tomorrow when we watch the videos together, and especially when I take notes and stuff about it, because sometimes it's kind of difficult when I'm multitasking between coaching and filming. But it's also why I like doing the filming and feedback on Monday and Tuesday, because it's like the least active day in London, but it's also probably the most productive. You get the most out of it by being able to, again, have that footage and seeing what you look like on camera and going, okay, right, these are my mistakes. Oh, is this what I look like when I'm probably talking to my work colleagues? Okay, I need to fix that. So it makes a huge difference, it really does. So yeah, so that was essentially the day. Like, yeah, we did the free flow exercise, we went to some of the Christmas markets, got him to speak to the staff or the people working on the stalls and ask them questions about the products, get him to just practice expanding that, showed him what it's like and got him to actually do a cold approach, and quite simply just starting off on the cold approaching side of things with asking people for directions. And of course it's only day number 1. On Wednesday will be kind of the official day number 2, because tomorrow we'll just be sitting and watching the video footage, and it'll be much warmer than how cold it is outside at the moment. But yeah, we'll go over stuff, and then on Wednesday, because it'll be just solely about cold approaching, he's going to be pushed into more approaches. I won't be letting him off on stuff, and it'll mean he'll be able to start going up to people. Besides asking for directions, we'll move to giving compliments, and then we will move to hopefully having conversations and just taking it from there. He was kind of anxious about, like, oh, am I expected to get phone numbers this week? And I was like, no. Whatever happens, happens. It's in our control, it's out of our control, it doesn't really matter. What's more important is that you enjoy the process, as Johnny used to say, and you get a lot out of the experience. And I want you to just grow personally. Have that personal development. Everything else will fall into place. I'm really, really not worried about phone numbers. I'd rather he get comfortable cold approaching and having conversations with people, and the rest will naturally just fall into place. And I want him to have very authentic conversations as well. I don't want him to be using lines and routines online, right? This might go very dark for a moment as I'm walking down this alleyway. Oh, I look like a silhouette on the camera. Oh dear. So no, it was really good. I'm looking forward to seeing what the rest of the week is going to go. And I'm going to push him as hard as I possibly can, but at the same time, I don't push so far that it breaks someone. I want them to be able to develop that confidence and conviction and comfortability, because that's also important too, as we're walking, well, as we're going through the week, not as we're walking, I'm walking. So I think, because I've noticed this is now just gone completely dark, you're not going to be able to see me for a little bit, and I know I'm nearly home as well. But I am going to update you every day on how his coaching's going, and I'll probably do it more in the mornings if I can, if I'm walking. Otherwise, maybe I'll do it when I'm coming home, but I'm just conscious that I'll be doing live streams in the dark, and I don't think it looks great if you just can't see my face and it's just pure darkness. So I'm going to leave it there as I'm nearly home, but definitely look out for my streams. We've got Black Friday coming up, so do look out for my offers as well. Oh, what's going on there? So look out for my offers as well, and hopefully I look forward to maybe working with some of you guys in the new year. And what a great time to do it as well. Be ready to have a great dating life in 2026. So we'll leave it there, and thank you guys for tuning in.